Uncle tried to buy my daughter's Taylor Swift ticket for $3K, but when she refused, he slapped her in front of everyone and destroyed our family. I'm a single mom to a 16-year-old girl, Emma. She's been a diehard Swiftie for years. Posters, vinyls, lyrics scribbled in notebooks, the whole deal. When Taylor announced her tour dates, Emma was determined to go. She worked part-time babysitting, saved every spare dollar, and I chipped in what I could. Between the two of us, we managed to get her one ticket. The joy on her face when she secured that seat was something I'll never forget. She said it felt like a dream. That ticket wasn't just paper and ink. It was her reward for months of hard work and patience. Now here's where my brother-in-law Paul, my daughter calls him uncle, though technically he's married to my sister, comes in. Paul has money, like real money. He owns a business, drives imported cars, wears designer everything. He's also the type who's used to getting exactly what he wants, whenever he wants it. My family has always sort of tiptoed around him. He's arrogant, dismissive, and more than once I've heard him mock people who can't keep up with his lifestyle. But he's never crossed a physical line before. Fast forward to this past weekend. We were all gathered at my parents' house for a family barbecue. Burgers, laughter, kids running around. It was supposed to be a normal, happy day. Emma wore her Taylor Swift hoodie, and naturally, talk of the concert came up. She mentioned how excited she was, and that's when Paul suddenly locked in. He asked if she'd sell the ticket to him. At first, I thought he was joking. But he wasn't. He wanted the ticket for his own daughter, who hadn't managed to get one. Emma politely said no, explaining that this was her chance to see her idol live. Paul smirked and pulled out his phone, saying he'd give her $3,000 cash for it. The table went silent. $3,000 is life-changing money for a teenager. Heck, it's a lot of money for me too. But Emma shook her head. She said, "Thank you, but I really want to go. It means more to me than money." That's when everything went downhill. Paul's smirk twisted into anger. He laughed bitterly and said, "Are you kidding me? You'd turn down $3,000 for a stupid concert? Don't be selfish." Emma held her ground. She said she wasn't being selfish. She just wanted the experience. That's when Paul exploded. He stood up, towering over her, and started yelling. He accused her of being spoiled, ungrateful, even disrespectful for turning down such a generous offer. Emma tried to stay calm, but she was visibly shaken. And then, before I could even process it, he slapped her. He slapped my daughter. Right there, in front of everyone. The sound was sharp, the shock immediate. Emma's hand flew to her cheek, her eyes wide with tears. I swear the world froze. For a second, no one moved. No one breathed. Then chaos erupted. My mom gasped, my dad shouted, kids started crying. I lunged forward and shoved myself between Paul and Emma. I screamed at him to get out, to never come near her again. My daughter clung to me, sobbing, her body trembling. And what did the rest of the family do? Half of them rushed to comfort Emma, horrified by what they'd just witnessed. But the other half? They tried to downplay it. My sister, his wife, kept saying, "He didn't mean it, he just lost his temper." My mom whispered, "Don't escalate this, we're family." Are you kidding me? A grown man hit a teenage girl, my teenage girl, over a concert ticket. And people wanted me to just brush it off. I didn't. I told Paul to get the hell out, and I meant it. I said if he ever came near Emma again, I'd call the police. He stormed out, muttering about how ungrateful brats don't deserve nice things, and how he was done with this family. My sister followed him, crying, torn between defending her husband and acknowledging the horror of what he'd done. Emma sat in my arms, shaking and humiliated. Her cheek was red where he struck her. She kept saying, "Why? Why would he do that? It's just a concert ticket." And I had no answer for her. Because in my head, I was asking myself the same question. How could anyone, let alone family, hurt her over something so trivial? Since then, things have only gotten worse. Some relatives called me later, telling me I overreacted, that I shouldn't ruin the family over one mistake. Others said they're disgusted with Paul and want nothing to do with him. The divide is clear, and it feels like there's no coming back from it. I can't look at Paul without seeing the man who slapped my daughter. I can't forgive my sister for defending him in that moment. And I can't wrap my head around how anyone can excuse violence against a child just because we're family. Right now I'm torn. Part of me wants to press charges, to make sure there are real consequences for what he did. Another part of me just wants to cut him off completely and never look back. But then I wonder, if I walk away, am I letting him get away with it? If I push for charges, will I shatter the family even more than it already is? All I know is that my daughter deserves to feel safe. She deserves to know that no one, especially not family, can lay a hand on her without consequence. And yet, I feel like I'm being gaslit by half my relatives into thinking I'm making it bigger than it is. So Reddit, I need to know. Am I overreacting? Or is this the end of my family as I know it? Because right now, it feels like a single slap destroyed everything. Update 1. I didn't expect my post to get the amount of attention it did. I honestly thought maybe a handful of people would read it and give me advice, but the response has been overwhelming. I've read every comment I could, and I want to thank everyone who told me what I already knew deep down. That my daughter is not selfish, that what happened was abuse, and that I'm not crazy for wanting to protect her. Unfortunately, things have gotten worse since I last posted. After the barbecue disaster, I thought maybe Paul, my brother-in-law/Emma's uncle, would realize what he'd done, calm down, and apologize. That's not what happened. The very next day he called me, not to apologize but to double down. His exact words were, "Kids these days are spoiled brats." She had the chance to make more money in 1 second than most people her age could dream of, and she turned it down. She needed to be taught a lesson. I was speechless. He was completely unashamed of slapping my daughter. In fact, he was proud of himself. He claimed he was just disciplining her the way parents used to do. I told him he's not her parent, he's not even blood related, and even if he were, he had no right to touch her. He laughed and hung up on me. My sister, his wife, texted me later, basically trying to smooth things over. She wrote, "He just lost his temper. Emma shouldn't have spoken to him like that. Let's not blow this out of proportion." I nearly threw my phone across the room. My 16-year-old got slapped across the face, and somehow, they were framing it as her fault. To make things worse, Paul's kids, who are close in age to Emma, posted cryptic messages online about how Emma loves drama and isn't as innocent as she looks. It broke my heart to see her scrolling through them, her face falling. She asked me through tears, "Mom, do they really think I'm a bad person? This is the part that's killing me the most. Emma doesn't even want to go to the concert anymore. The ticket she once treated like treasure now feels tainted. She told me she feels guilty, like she caused the family drama just by saying no. She asked me if maybe she should have just sold the ticket to keep the peace." Hearing those words out of her mouth made me want to scream. I've reassured her over and over that she did nothing wrong, that she had every right to hold on to something she worked for and cherished. But she's withdrawn since then, quieter, less bubbly. She asked me if she could start therapy, which broke my heart and relieved me at the same time. I never wanted her to go through something that would require professional help, but I'm glad she recognizes her needs. I've already reached out, and we're waiting for the first session. As for Paul, I made my stance very clear. I told him and my sister that he is banned from my home, permanently. He is not welcome near me, and certainly not near Emma. I also sent a group message to the rest of the family explaining that if they choose to side with him or excuse what he did, then they should not expect to have access to me or my daughter. Some relatives stayed quiet, some sent supportive messages, and others told me I was being dramatic and tearing the family apart. One even had the audacity to say, "It was just a slap. It's not like he broke her arm." That sentence made me sick. The bar is apparently on the floor for how they define acceptable behavior. I also considered filing a police report. It happened in front of multiple witnesses, so it wouldn't just be my word against his. But then I thought about Emma. I don't want to drag her through a legal process that could traumatize her even more. Still, the option is on the table. The family is split down the middle now. Some quietly support me, though they don't want to take sides. Which to me is taking a side. Others are openly defending Paul, saying he did what any adult would do when a kid disrespects them. To make matters worse, Paul is now telling anyone who will listen that Emma provoked him, that she was talking back and being entitled. He's painting her as some brat who threw his generosity in his face, which couldn't be further from the truth. She was polite when she declined his offer. She didn't raise her voice, didn't insult him. She just said no. But apparently in his world, no from a teenager is a challenge to his ego. The final straw for me came 2 nights ago. Paul sent me a text, and I swear I thought I was reading satire. He actually demanded that I give him the ticket anyway. He said, "After everything, you should do the right thing and let my daughter go. Emma doesn't even want it anymore. You're being selfish." I nearly dropped my phone. The sheer entitlement was unbelievable. This man assaulted my child, spread lies about her, and then had the gall to demand the very thing that started this mess. I didn't even reply, I just blocked his number. But in that moment, everything became crystal clear. This was never about a ticket. It was never about money. It was about control. Paul couldn't stand the idea that a teenage girl told him no, and he tried to punish her for it. He doesn't care about what's right. He cares about power. So here's where I stand now. Paul is permanently out of our lives. I don't care if it means missing holidays, birthdays, or family reunions. I don't care if people accuse me of being dramatic or holding a grudge. I am choosing my daughter's safety and dignity over keeping the peace. I'm also seriously considering going no contact with the relatives who continue to defend him. Because at the end of the day, if they think slapping a teenager is excusable, then I don't want those people around Emma either. As for the concert, I told Emma we're going. I'll take her myself, make it a fun trip, and make sure she feels safe the entire time. She deserves this joy after everything she's been through. I told her that letting Paul steal this experience from her would be letting him win, and we're not giving him that satisfaction. But I'm left with one final dilemma. Do I report him? Do I file charges and make this official? Or do I just walk away and never look back? I don't want to re-traumatize my daughter, but I also don't want Paul to think he got away with it scot-free. So Reddit, what would you do? Should I pursue legal action? Or is cutting him off enough? All I know is this. A single slap revealed everything I needed to know about my family, and now I have to decide what comes next. Final update. It's been a few months since my last post, and I wanted to come back here to close the loop. So many of you gave me strength and perspective when I felt like I was losing my mind. And I think I owe it to you, and to myself, to share where we are now. The short version? We're okay. Better than okay, actually. My daughter and I are stronger, closer, and freer than we were before. But yes, the family fallout is permanent. After a lot of sleepless nights and long talks with my daughter, I decided to file a police report against Paul. I wasn't sure at first. I didn't want Emma dragged through the stress of legal proceedings, but she surprised me. She told me she wanted him to face consequences, that she didn't want him thinking he could ever get away with what he did to her or to anyone else. So we did it. We went to the station, gave statements, and listed witnesses. To my shock, 2 relatives who had stayed neutral before actually stepped up and confirmed what they saw. They admitted they couldn't stay quiet knowing a grown man slapped a teenager. That alone felt like a small victory. Paul was charged with misdemeanor assault. He tried to downplay it, said it was just a family misunderstanding. But the officer who interviewed us wasn't buying it. The case wrapped up with him having to pay fines, attend anger management classes, and he now has a record. It may not be prison time, but at least there's something on paper that says what he did was wrong. He doesn't get to just rewrite history and call it discipline. The fallout was exactly what I expected, and at the same time, worse than I imagined. Some relatives cut ties with me completely. They said I ruined Paul's life by filing charges. They said I should have handled it within the family, and that going to the police was a betrayal. Honestly, if protecting my daughter from an abuser is betrayal, then I'll wear that label proudly. Others stayed quiet for a long time, but have slowly come around. They watched Paul's behavior after the incident. How he showed zero remorse, how he spread lies about Emma, and how he never once tried to make things right. I think seeing his true colors made them realize I wasn't overreacting. A few even apologized for not standing up sooner. Family gatherings look very different now. They're smaller, quieter, calmer. No more walking on eggshells around Paul's temper. No more pretending arrogance is just a quirk. It's not the big, bustling family we used to have, but honestly, I don't miss the drama. I'd rather have peace and safety than numbers. The best part of this whole ordeal is watching Emma grow from it. For a while, she was withdrawn, scared, and blaming herself. Therapy has been a game changer. She's learning that boundaries are healthy, that saying no isn't selfish, and that she's not responsible for how grown adults handle their emotions. And yes, she went to the Taylor Swift concert. I took her myself, and we made a whole weekend of it. We drove out of town, stayed in a hotel, got matching shirts, and sang every song at the top of our lungs. Watching her eyes light up when Taylor walked on stage, that moment erased so much of the pain. It was symbolic, proof that she didn't let Paul steal her joy. She told me afterward, "Mom, I'm so glad I didn't sell my ticket. This was worth everything." Since then, Emma's been more confident. She's not just proud she stood her ground. She's proud she didn't let money or pressure make her compromise something that mattered deeply to her. She's even started standing up for herself more at school. The other day, a friend tried to push her into doing something she didn't want to, and she told me. I said no, and I didn't feel bad about it. That's growth. As for Paul, he's isolated now. His reputation in the family is shredded. Even outside of family, people talk. Word gets around in our community. He tried to spin the story like he was the victim, but people aren't buying it. A grown man slapping a teenager over a concert ticket doesn't exactly make him look strong. It makes him look pathetic. From what I've heard, even his own kids are embarrassed by him. They don't bring friends around anymore, probably because they don't want to deal with questions. My sister is still with him, though she looks exhausted every time I see her in passing. That's her choice, but it's not mine. He reached out once through a family member, asking if I was ready to move on. I didn't even respond. I don't need closure from him. My closure is knowing my daughter is safe and happy without him anywhere near us. I never imagined something as simple as a concert ticket could tear open the truth about my family. But looking back, I think it was always there. Paul's entitlement. The way some relatives excused bad behavior for the sake of keeping the peace. The way money seemed to buy respect. It was all brewing under the surface. The ticket was just the spark that lit the fire. I used to believe family was everything, that blood ties meant you stick together no matter what. Now I know better. Family isn't about who you're related to. It's about who shows up for you, who respects you, who protects you when it counts. I'm grateful I chose my daughter over tradition, over appearances, over people who wanted me to stay silent. I'm grateful I stood up for her when she needed it most. And most of all, I'm grateful she knows now that she is worth protecting, that her no matters, and that she never has to trade her happiness for someone else's ego. So, that's where we are now. Our circle is smaller, but it's solid. Our home is peaceful. Emma is thriving. And Paul? He's just a bitter man yelling into the void, with fewer and fewer people willing to listen. I thought a concert ticket would bring my daughter joy. I never imagined it would reveal the true faces of my family. But in the end, I'd rather have a smaller family who respects my child than a big one that excuses abuse.